mobility, his running ability? What's that mean for your run game and just your offense in general?
Yeah, obviously Saturday was a big boost to some timely runs and some design, reads to put the interior in conflict a little bit. Those guys that were such powerful players. And obviously very well timed for him to make the right read, the right move. Even though they were like 8 or 9 yard runs, those were critical runs. But he continues to use his legs in good moments. He's quick. He gets to the edge quickly, and has done a nice job for us. It's a good supplement for us in the running game for sure.
The delayed handoff seemed to be effective, especially early in the game. What you like about it?
Well, I mean, it was a 4 down wide defensive ends, hard charging vertical defense, and it's like kind of football 101 to try to run a draw on them, let them run up the field and run themselves out of the play, and that's kind of what they did a couple times. It was a good little mix up for us that I think our guys did a good job of executing.
What do you like about how Tip has grown as a pass catcher, and what kind of element does he give you in the red zone?
Well, Tip's done a nice job. I think
sorry.
the Cardinals recognize that. It's really paid off dividends for him. But Tanner has done a nice job for us. I mean, he's just he just exudes and just exemplifies what we want to be about in our program. Tough, smart, dependable. He just that's just who he is, and I just cannot say enough about what he's meant to us offensively, our team. You saw what he brought, obviously, from a special team standpoint, but just his leadership, the way he carries himself quietly yet splendidly, and just, every game he's making plays that's helped our football team win. And, we take a whole bunch of guys like him.
What was the difference in Illinois having success running the ball against a defensive line like Michigan?
Well, I mean, I think our guys came ready to play. We had moments where we played really well up front. I think once number 2 went out in the game, they really started playing a whole lot more kind of shell coverage, a lot of zone, and kind of left us a 6-man box the majority of the game. They had some mix-ups that it wasn't like that, but just philosophically I felt that shift a little bit, so we kind of just stayed with the run a little bit more. And we took advantage of some moments and ran the ball at key times. Now, would we like to run the ball better, and could we have? Yeah, for sure. You watch the film and we got to get better at this. I got to make a better call here. But our guys competed hard. The backs ran hard. The receivers blocked hard on the perimeter. And so it was really kind of just all those things summed up together, led us to have a good rushing day. One of the better days we've had, and obviously one of the better days that people have had against them.
And Oregon's known to be like a super loud crowd. Is there going to be a lot of preparation of trying to deal with that crowd noise?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a priority number 1 for us to handle the environment. We've had two road games that have gone very loud environments. And this will be its own unique experience. I've never been there, but I've known a lot of people that have, and everybody from A to Z talks about how loud the environment is, maybe the loudest place in the country. If not, it's one of, for sure. And I thought we handled it really well. Our first opportunity, the second opportunity, we didn't handle as well. And so it's going to be important for us to be able to handle it, and we'll practice that moving forward for the game.
What have you seen about the Oregon defense on film? What are some challenges they present?
Yeah, well, they're really fast. Their scheme is very complex. And the fact that they have a lot of different variations and calls that they use to try to maximize their scheme. And I know it's very intricate. I don't know the details of it because I'm not afforded those, but I know just from my experience in going against this tree of defense that there's just a lot of complexities to it, a lot of inner complexities, subtle things that they try to be very thorough on, and I think they're extremely well coached in their system. They know that system extremely well. They know the adjustments. They've got a lot of experience across the board on defense. I mean, guys that have played just countless games, so they're very experienced, very confident in their scheme, and they're very fast. So those all create a unique set of challenges. You wouldn't expect anything less in the Big Ten. Each week's got its own set of challenges, and obviously Oregon presents plenty of them from that standpoint.
Barry, can you walk us through the 2-point play when Donovan has to go in the ball game and that's the call, and just kind of what you saw and what he was able to do?
Yeah. I mean, there was no flinch from anybody, starting with Donovan, going to me, and then our team, for very variable reasons. Various reasons I should say. It's just like, number 1 is our confidence in Donovan, right, and what he's shown and what he's capable of doing. Number 2, a high volume of practice reps on that particular play. Number three, our players, you know, we knew that we had practiced that during the week as our first 2-point play. Our guys knew that was going to be the call, and we actually practiced it exactly against the look that they presented. And so there was just, I think it was just confidence was the heart of it. And then for him to go in that moment and be ready, and you know, and as short as the throw as it was a great ball placement and obviously a great catch by Zakari.
What have you seen from the interior of our offensive line? How has it evolved and progressed as the season's gone on?
Yeah, well, Kreutz is our leader. Kreutz is Mr. Consistent. Geske really played well Saturday. Probably played his best game, certainly of the year, and maybe since, you know, I've been here. I thought he really rose up and played a really solid game against some really talented, I'm using really a lot, but some really talented players internally. And then, you know, that rotation of the right guard spot has continued to level off a little bit, you know, and they both have had their moments and had them on Saturday as well. And so I think our guys are comfortable with that rotation, you know, and then the other part being pretty solid. But the interior, you know, starts with Kreutz, communication. He's our captain up front, and you know, and I mean, you know, obviously, I mean, from the O-line standpoint, and then Geske really rose up. So, you know, we're going to have to play in unison together. When our guys play in unison with confidence, we play really well. And there's been times where, like anybody, in any part of the season, we haven't been as in unison. There's a lot of complexities up front, a lot of different looks, a lot of different calls, and it's my job to make sure we're steering them in a look that they feel really comfortable with, because when they do that and they play with confidence, we're really effective, and we had a lot of really good moments on Saturday.
Luke said something about basically public humiliation making him who he is today. And I'm wondering, just on a personal level, how much does it mean to you to see him having the success after you saw what he went through in the past?
Say that again now. Who are you talking about?
Luke.
Oh, public humiliation? You said,
Yeah,
I said that?
saying that the struggles and the trials and the
Oh yeah, that's out there. I mean, when you're the quarterback, your stuff's out there, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, and everybody's got an opinion, and if people didn't have strong opinions, that means nobody would care. Nobody cared. Nobody would come to the games, and so that's just part of the job, right? I mean, when you play quarterback, you're going to get the good and the bad that comes with that position, and so I think he has, you know, weathered very nicely through some storms, and that's just, you know, obviously last year went through some really tough ones, and was super impressed on how he carried through those, but. We're seeing a different Luke Altmyer this time around than we did this time last year. I think his confidence is at a high level. He's carrying himself like that in the games. He's competing at a super high level. You know, his impact on the game Saturday was negligible when it came to the statistical output, but I think anybody that watched that game and felt that game felt his impact. And yeah, I mean, I think you look back on it, you're just super proud of the way the kid's competing and put in his position to win. His team feels that. I know our fan base feels that, and we're proud of the way he's playing. He's got to continue to play that way.
Aiden Laughery gave the run game a boost early, especially early on. You know, how has he embraced a bigger role with Caden Fagan out with the injury?
I think they learned to realize that that's the life of the room. You know, it's just there's going to be some ups and downs, and you know, week to week, and injuries, and you know, we've had our fair share of those at that position over the last couple of years, and so I think it's just you know, Aiden's experience in that has provided helpful for him to be ready for when his moment's called, and they've all had their moments, and they will all continue to have their moments, you know, and so, but yeah, it was great to see Aiden start the game off and pop the draw, use his speed in open field, had a couple other nice runs, impacted the game in a nice way. We believe in Aiden Laughery in a huge way, and he continues to show us why.
I saw you guys go under center with the sneak, and we've seen that a few times, obviously, this year. I remember last year that was kind of a work in progress for you guys. So how's your confidence evolved in those?
Oh yeah, we're very confident in that. Yeah, very confident, and all of our quarterbacks being underneath for exchanges, and so that was not even a factor in that moment.
You mentioned the complexity of Oregon's defense. Does that mean something more for Luke this week? Is it on him more to be able to read and react?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, it is. It's both of us. It's all, you know, it's all of us. It's on the line to recognize what's going on and protect him, and it's on the receivers to recognize in the back end what the different coverages are and how that affects their route structure and their shapes of their routes, and it's on him and the backs to, you know, I mean, it's everybody, and it's not necessarily, it's unique to Oregon. I don't know if it's unique to, you know, college football in that regard. But there are certainly some difficulties in dissecting the coverage, the cover patterns, and he's just going to have a lot of trust in his training and see what he needs to be focused on seeing, and not get too scattered in his vision.
Since Coach B got here, has it had this kind of family theme? How's that play out within the staff? Like with you guys have got a lot of kids, a lot of, how's that work for you guys? And is it real within the team?
Yeah, it's absolutely real. And it obviously starts with, it's not just a slogan,
Right.
It's something that, our families, our families feel a part and very vested in what we're doing. We're in the building a lot, and, especially the ones that have, kids in school, they're in school a lot. The young ones are around a little bit more at times, but at the end of the day, it's I think it's a feeling, and it's a feeling that's put in action because Coach has an unbelievable ability to connect with everybody in the building, including the extended part of us, which is our families, and know what's going on in their world. He's I used to work for him in Arkansas. He would tell me, I would see him and he'd say, tell me a Luke Lunny story, or tell me something what's going on with Levi Lunny, because when my boys were young, we had entertaining stories like you guys can all appreciate if you have little ones. There's always something fun going on, and so I hear him interact with our coaches like that, and see him interact with our coaches' children like that.
Right.
So it's a real thing for us.
Now that he's a dad, do you see a difference? Because you saw him before Dad. Is that a different guy now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And is good-hearted, as good a man as he is, and he was before. Obviously he's a tremendous father, and obviously cares for his daughters, and it was pretty cool. That I've heard him say this. He said this to me. He's like, when you worked for me and I didn't have children, I didn't really have a full perspective of what you guys went through until I had my own, and we can all appreciate that are parents.
Sure.
And he's obviously he's just a good man, and I think that's one of the keys to his success over the course of the years. He knows how to over the years he just knows how to treat people, and he's great with people, and obviously families and our families are a part of that for sure.
Barry, as a relatively new play caller, we've asked Aaron a lot about his growth the last couple of years. I'm wondering for you, who had experience as a play caller coming here, how do you feel you've grown or evolved as a play caller
Sure.
in your 3 years here?
Yeah, I think I've evolved a lot. I would hope that I've evolved even from the start of the season. Because if you're not evolving and not learning from you, listen, you're going to learn from every moment as a play caller. You just are, and every call that you make, as you reflect back on it, like what did I do well? What did I didn't do well? What ones I would like to have back, and why would I want to have them back? And you learn to trust your gut, and you learn to listen to your gut when your gut's telling you okay, maybe this isn't right, and maybe I don't need to call this. And then sometimes you go ahead and call it, and you're like, I should have trusted my gut. So there's always these moments, and it is a continuum, and I know that Coach has helped me greatly. I know my coaches that I work with directly on the offense side of the ball have helped me greatly evolve. My experiences in each game in this conference have helped me evolve and grow, and hopefully I'm better now than I was when I first came here. I know I am. I know I'm a better play caller and coordinator than I was when I first got here, and I'm hoping to be a better coordinator this week than I was last week. It's just a continual growth process. There was just so much to learn on every situation, every game, 4-minute, 2-minute, end of half, fourth downs. There's a lot going on. It's a great challenge. It's a fun challenge. Even amongst the highs and the lows, which they're going to be. You guys are right there. You see them. That there's both sides of the spectrum. It's just a process that you always just try to be the best version of you.
Saw some new.
If you've noticed this too, but it seemed like on Saturday you had a lot of stacked backfields, almost looked like some similar stuff to wishbone stuff. And in your career as an offensive play caller and coordinator, have you found that what was once old could now be new again, and vice versa?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. Kind of football's cyclical, and you can pull out a play that 15 years ago, and it might look new, but it's like really old, and so.
Is that kind of how the single wing, with the wildcat stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the down blocks and the trap probably originated from, somebody running around in uniforms like we wore Saturday, and there's only so many ways to do a play, and I'm always amazed at the creativity that there is in college football, and the guys in the highest level of football in the NFL, college, D2, high school. I'm always looking for ways to to see somebody do an old thing a new way. But yeah, there's an element of that for sure.
With those different or new personnel groupings and formations, is that something you install each week based on the opponent, or is that more about yourself?
Yeah, it's both. To answer your question, is both. You know, I think there's times where certain opponents, you know, lend themselves to being more flexible in what you're showing, because they're pretty consistent with what maybe they present on defense. And there's certain weeks where they're very multiple, so it's a little bit of Russian roulette about if I put a new grouping in or a new formation in, what exactly they're going to look like. And so I think it's a blend of those two worlds, but we're always hunting and pecking ways to you know, get our players, our best players on the field and involved at the point of attack, and guys that, and also to supplement guys that, you know, maybe on the fringe of helping us, that don't play as many snaps but have earned the right to help us in some capacity, to be able to infuse some of that into the game plan as well. So it's a hybrid of both of those things for us.
Thank you, guys.